As much as I love Animal Crossing, I've never really gotten into any of the games prior to New Leaf, but I've always been intrigued by them. They have a specific air to them that some may even call creepy, and I'm just not sure it can be replicated in the newer games. Regardless of that, as I'm sure you're aware, Animal Crossing itself has never been one to shy away from being unsettling, both inside and outside the game. And one lesser talked about aspect that I've always been fond of is the creepiness of the music. So when I found out that there was an internet horror series revolving around that exact thing, I knew I had to cover it. Now, this particular series has been covered before, and I know I try to cover series that have less eyes on them, but if you think I'm not gonna cover this, you're fucking nuts. Hello everyone, and welcome back. I invited all the villagers over for a Halloween party, but no one came. In fact, I haven't seen any of them all day. So instead, we're gonna go over the Animal Crossing Wild World obscure OST. If you're unfamiliar with this series, it was made by a channel called Sepia Tone and revolves around music tracks from Wild World that were seemingly never found in the files of the game, but rather found in obscure forum posts, hence the name. It goes a lot deeper than that, with religious cults, entities inside the game, and a mysterious force taking people away. That's the gist of it without spoiling too much. Thank you to this comment for informing me of the series. And, I've gotta say, I never really bought into the whole ascension stuff that the villagers talk about. They've been discussing it for weeks, and... Wait. No, wait. Please. I'm sorry. I don't wanna go. I don't wanna go to hell. The majority of the OSTs are contained within a central playlist that's now unlisted. For each OST we cover, I'll play the corresponding song in the background. Unless the video has no song, then I'll just play a related track. The first of these OSTs being 0 AM. In the description we get our first bit of context regarding the playlist. This song has yet to be found in the files of the game. It is from an in-game recording. Note: update. All titles are fan-made, undetermined when the song plays. So the groundwork is already being laid that these are not directly ripped from the game itself, but rather found by the uploader somewhere online, or being recorded by them. In Animal Crossing, every hour has its own music that plays during it, and while some of these can be creepy, there is a notable absence of a 0 hour. This is true for every video in the playlist. Music that would play during events that don't transpire in regular gameplay. The second OST is Abandoned House. The song is very ominous, especially coupled with the photos of happy villagers enjoying their lives, but it sounds weirdly nostalgic. There's also some strange talking in the background that's kinda muffled, but I can't make anything out of it. The description is consistent with the previous, mentioning that it has yet to be found in the files. However, the note reads, "Plays in an animal's house when they disappear. This will be relevant later." The OST following this is Game Over, and again, it's very unsettling. It reminds me a lot of KK Dirge, which that song has its own problems. The description states the Game Over screen can be accessed via rare scorpion sting event, or being caught by the Nightly Visitor. The Nightly Visitor seems to be some sort of entity, and I hate that nightly implies we have to worry about some fucking creepy visitor every night. Game overs themselves don't occur in Animal Crossing, even in the event of a scorpion sting. You usually just wake up at your front door. At the end of this track, it diverts from the music and we hear something different. The next video is Waterfall Room. The description simply says, "Sorry about the footsteps." The town in Wild World does contain a waterfall, and it genuinely does look like there could be something behind there, but as far as I know, it's purely aesthetic. Notably, in this video, we see a screenshot of a player character standing in front of the waterfall, but briefly before the video ends, we get this frame that says, "How to get into the waterfall dungeon, step 1. The next song is Funeral, and I don't have too much to say about this one as there's no text in the description, but what I will say about the song is it sounds sad but slightly hopeful, as if they know there is something after. which I guess is what funerals usually are. The following track, Found, is the first song in here that I'd say is straight up scary. The description states that it plays in the graveyard. A little bit into the song, we can hear from the right ear a sound that could be interpreted as scratching, dragging, or maybe some form of raspy breathing. And later, from the left ear, a high-pitched sound begins playing, sounding almost like an alarm. The title implies you found something. However, the song definitely doesn't. You've been found, perhaps by the nightly visitor. The next song is Final Hour, a little bit of a parallel to 0 AM, even though a specific hour isn't listed. Note: random chance when everyone disappears. The song is fairly upbeat and has some wind sounds in it towards the beginning. It gets kinda hype in the middle as if it's some sort of victory. Similarly to Game Over, towards the end, the music cuts out and a screaming type sound is heard. The subsequent song is just called Untitled. It has no description. I'd consider myself fairly desensitized to internet horror at this point, but this video did leave me kind of unsettled. The track itself isn't really music per se, as much as it consists of high-pitched noises and a low croaking. But the video gives us a lot more, as it contains scrambled text throughout that reads as follows. I can't quite make it out. Its long gray hair briefly hovers over my neck, as if to gesture. What are you looking at? I turn around to see it bending over my head. Its breath burns my face off. I turn around. Its black hair in my face. It wants me to turn around. Of course it does. I turn around. I can see its arms hugging the wall. The holes where its eyes should be are boring past my skin into my skull. Scrolling text in the background reads, if I turn around, I'm going to die. It want me turn around. Turn around. The final text reading, both of its hands land on my shoulder in perfect timing. Shit like this is why I love this series. The fact that it can scare you with movie maker text is something special. This is also the first instance of an anomaly from the game extending into the real world. Following this is Church. The title of the video refers to it as this, but the text at the beginning that usually matches the title calls it Midnight Ceremony. Note, it's always too late to attend service. You can sneak in, but that's a bad idea. This fits in well with the song, because listening to it, it sounds like you shouldn't be here. The most interesting part comes towards the end, when we get what appears to be a screenshot of the Animal Crossing wiki of a villager called Belle. Gender, male. Species, ram. Service, church priest. Picture quote, God is such a forgiving being, wouldn't you agree? Appearances, Animal Crossing Wild World. Now, I want to take a second to explain the picture system in Animal Crossing. To obtain a villager's portrait, you have to befriend them, just by talking to them a lot, sending them letters, stuff like that. And when they give it to you, you can display it in your house, and it will have a quote from them on the back. This is the case for normal villagers. However, the special villagers that have roles in the town, you usually have to complete a specific task for them to give you their picture, especially in Wild World. And with Belle having a service he provides, logically he'd also have a completion case to obtain the portrait. I have a theory on what this might be, but I'll talk about it towards the end. The next song is Ascension, and we've had some hints of this before with the villagers disappearing, but this is where we get a concrete name for what's happening. They're ascending. But it's not yet shown exactly what this means. Towards the end, text appears reading, why is nobody else here? And by the change in music, ascending may not be as happy as it tries to sound towards the beginning. There's nothing in the description, but someone apparently used this over what looks like some AI rabbit slop, so that's neat. After this, the next song is Bankruptcy. The description reads, support your local businesses. In the video, we get the image of an empty version of Tom Nook's shop and the text, He didn't even lock the door. And considering that this greedy piece of shit would probably never go bankrupt, it can only be assumed that he also ascended, and this is the song that plays when he's gone. Much like Abandoned House from earlier in the playlist. Subsequently, we have the song Player Grave. Note, random chance when mourning a player's grave, he's in a better place. It starts off normal, but midway through the video it transitions to this screen, maybe one that appears when inspecting the grave. Name, David. Town, Fairway. Favorite villager, Lucky. Which is very fitting. Also, a side note, this is Lucky's house in New Horizons, and it's fucking wild. It's just this in Wild World, pretty tame in comparison. Played for 562 days, 13 hours, 1 minute. A very abnormal amount of playtime. Final words, I don't want to go to heaven. May he rest in peace. A lot can be taken from this. First off, the playtime implies that this player is still playing the game, despite no longer being with us, and the final words are just so haunting. As the video goes on, David's face changes to being completely hollow. This is actually a feature in the older GameCube game where if you disconnect while in another player's town, your face will change to that of a gyroid's, and you lose all your things. The final thing that occurs in this video is a majority of the text being changed to crosses. The next video is Church Prayer. Note, plays during a church service prayer. To anybody who ascended last night, can you tell us if you got anything cool out of it, like some furniture or something? In the video, we see the player attending a church service. Also in attendance are blacked out versions of other player characters. They all seem to have their hands clasped, and Bell, the church priest from earlier, is speaking. Let us all have a moment of prayer. As the video goes on, members slowly start ascending, and at the very end, the screen turns white as the player follows his brothers. Following this is Goodbye Note. Note, short loop that plays in a letter from when another player quits the game. There is more to this description, but I'm gonna save it for after the video. We see a letter from a player named Noah to James. It reads, "It's time for me to go. I'm sorry I never told you, but it's going to be okay. We'll see each other soon." The letter fades to reveal the attic, with the player looking at an empty bed. For those unfamiliar with Wild World, like myself, the attic is in every player's house and has a phone where you change the settings and a bed for each player on the save file. When the player isn't currently playing, they will be in their bed sleeping. The bed in the video is notably empty. The remainder of the description reads, "My brother quit playing the game yesterday, and I got this fucked up letter sounding like he was gonna run away. When I asked him about it, he freaked out, insisting he didn't write it. I tried to press him on what happened, and he just started to break down, saying he was going to hell over and over again." The next video is White Fog sound effects. Note, a step up from the normal fog, replaces music in-game. The video contains various stages of the white fog. Stage 1, Stage 2, and Stage 3. The screenshots show different villagers with varying levels of fog, and at the end the text High Form appears. If it wasn't entirely clear, the uploader is scraping these from a forum, so a lot of these aren't their gameplay. This was a very widespread thing. That's not to say none of the videos were sourced by them, but they aren't David or Noah or James. They are their own character. Returning to the white fog, it's interesting that Stage 3 is labeled as a hoax. This implies that reaching that stage was so rare only a handful of people had seen it, and others who hadn't witnessed it thought it was a hoax. The last major video we'll be going over in this playlist is Nightly Visitor. He's finally here. Let's start with the description. Note, what is the Nightly Visitor? The Nightly Visitor is essentially the Brutus of Animal Crossing Wild World. Brutus, if you didn't know, was just an Animal Crossing creepypasta about a dog who moved into your town and was a dickhead. The Nightly Visitor, a figure rumored to hide in the shadows, taking the form of animals near town. It is said to visit your town from around 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., roaming near the graveyard. On rare occasions, the Nightly Visitor may enter your house and rearrange the furniture in your living room. If the Nightly Visitor catches you, you will receive the highly elusive Game Over screen, but also lose all of your progress. No dialogue in the game has ever been found to even acknowledge its existence, let alone the graveyard it resides in. Despite the rumors, the nightly visitor doesn't kill you in real life. This is an urban legend, perpetrated by others who are obviously still alive to post about it. It begins with some scary sounding noise, but then hard cuts to some actual gameplay of the player character getting out of bed and heading downstairs. The first frame of this, however, shows the text, "You can't move either." I'm not sure if this is actual text anywhere in the game or not. The bed adjacent to theirs is grayed out and also empty. In their upper level, we see a tiled floor with an entrance in the middle leading downstairs, accompanied by a moon symbol. They do not enter, however. Instead, they head downstairs and just walk around, turning off the TV. But strangely, as they try to exit, they return to the same room through the back door. Confused by this, they decide to go through the back door, but again they return through the front, and a jingle plays signifying a correct action. A telephone begins to ring, and they head upstairs to answer it. This is not the correct phone, though. It just displays the typical settings menu. It freezes on this frame for a second, very clever. But the important thing here is, for a brief moment, we can catch a glimpse of the town name, Fairway. The only other time we can see this is in Player Grave, where David's town is listed as Fairway. And seeing as this is not David and the other bed is empty, David has already left this world of bugs and fruit and ascended. Further confirmation of this is in the living room, where we see a portrait of his favorite villager, Lucky, as well as a portrait of Belle, meaning either David or this new character has completed the task required to obtain it. Also downstairs is a cross hanging above their doorway. A phone continues to ring, and they decide to head back downstairs. A fart sound plays, that's the only way I can think to describe it, and all the furniture in their living room has disappeared. This is consistent with the description of the nightly visitor, which means he is here. The phone is finally picked up, but not by our protagonist. It's by Lucky, who says, "Sorry, I can't come to the phone right now." Notably, a cloud pattern surrounds the text box. The game begins to stutter as the player desperately tries any exit they can, but despite their efforts, they cannot leave the living room. The music during this part is piercing, as a loud drum bangs and faint sounds of groaning are audible, all while a spliced version of the jingle we heard earlier rings out. As it reaches a crescendo, this image appears in the top left, the same type of square we can see in Player Grave. And I'm not too sure what it is, but messing with it a bit, it appears to be a face crying a dark substance. The screen blanks out, and the video peels away to reveal the text. I turned around and saw an angel. This lines up with Untitled, which we can now assume to be a result of the nightly visitor. The next video is the final real video in the playlist, so let's just skip it for now and go to Jingle. I mean, it's only 7 seconds, it can't have too much in it. Oh, that's nice. The description doesn't have too much to... Wait, what's this? So, the way this series was initially presented, it was just one playlist, all the videos we just saw. But in this new playlist, we see duplicates. Same title, same thumbnail. Originally, the first playlist would have its videos replaced. You would go to rewatch Player Grave, and it would be something different. It's honestly an amazing concept, but for the sake of cohesion, it couldn't stay like that. So now we have all the videos that were replaced out in the open. It's a bit messy chronologically because technically Player Grave 2 came before the Nightly Visitor, but it doesn't particularly matter too much. Save for the final video, which is the last canon video to be uploaded, so I think it's best to go through every other video first. The next two we'll be going over are both Player Graves. I'll call them Player Grave 2 and Player Grave 3 for simplicity. Player Grave 2 starts the exact same as Player Grave 1, and the description is also the same. Although midway through the video the music stops, and plays the same jingle sound we've heard a couple of times now. David's face is stripped of all its features, with all remaining being a single cross. It's extremely eerie, and to add insult to injury, all of David's details disappear, as if all he is now is just a tool for whatever entity did this to him. Player Grave 3 is different, however. It doesn't even give us the same Player Grave music, just white noise and a simple sentence. It's time to go. Please speak into the microphone. If I saw this as a child, I'd shit myself. If I saw this as an adult, I'd shit myself. What makes this even worse, though, is in previous player graves we had David's final words. It was already terrifying enough thinking he had to type those into the DS, but now that we see this, it makes it even worse knowing those were his actual final words. After this, we have Goodbye Note 2. The last goodbye note being the letter sent to James from his brother Noah. I think the music here is a distorted version of the Ascension music, but I'm not entirely sure. The description reads, I asked for him to draw where the church was on our map. I watched him draw the lines, only to be unable to relocate where it was after I looked away. The text in the video consists of the words, I don't want to go, over and over. They continue to flash, increasing in intensity until all music fades and the words no longer appear. Seeing as we got David's last words in the previous video, these are likely Noah's last words as he ascended. And as the video comes to a close, we hear the same jingle, and text appears reading, I'm going to hell. Following this is Player Grave 4. There is a notable absence of music this time around, and shortly into the video, David's portrait turns to face the screen. And after this, we get this scene. The text goes by fast and repeats itself a few times, but the individual lines read, Don't close the menu. I miss you. It's so lonely up here. It's too bright in here. Don't leave me. Please don't leave me. Don't press the button. I don't want to be here. I want to go home. These repeat a couple of times, but towards the end we get, I'm sorry. Please don't do it. And lastly, one of the saddest lines, just a few more minutes. The next video replaced was White Fog sound effects, giving us White Fog sound effects 2. It's largely the same as the previous, although this time there's no text and no images to accompany it, just an intensified version of the fog. More intense than Stage 3, which was already considered a hoax, so this is definitely more rare. If I were to guess, this would be the sound effect that plays when every single person is gone from the village. Like if the people playing were all ascended and some poor soul found the cartridge and made a new character, only to be met with nothing. But hey, maybe the nightly visitor could keep them some company. Subsequently is Waterfall Dungeon. I'm not entirely sure if this replaced the Waterfall Room or if it was its own video. In the video, we get the step-by-step guide on how to get into the Waterfall Room that was alluded to in the first video. KK Jazz is the music that plays during this. How to get to the Waterfall Room in Animal Crossing Wild World. Step 1. Hit a rock until you hear this jingle. Try at least 10 times before moving on to the next rock. Only one rock in your town can play this noise right now. Step 2. Find 3 more rocks that play this jingle. 3 more rocks should play the jingle the first time. If the next rock you hit doesn't play the jingle, you'll have to go back to the first rock again. Step 3. After hitting all 4 rocks, go to the waterfall. There will be a pathway to the inside. Jump across the rocks and into the waterfall. No buttons, just walk towards it. Step 4. You've found the waterfall room. There's not much to do here, but it's a cool spot. There's a dungeon, but I haven't figured out how to get in yet. Thanks for watching. I love how authentic this video feels. If you went back in time and uploaded this, no one would question it. In the waterfall room itself, we can see a moon statue as well as a cover to a staircase. And if all of this looks familiar, that's because we've seen something similar before in David's house on the 2nd floor. David appears to have figured out not only how to get into the dungeon, but found a way to connect it to his home. Also, KK Jazz, the same song playing in the Waterfall Dungeon video, is playing in David's house, but that's probably just a tangential connection. Finishing off the Player Grave story, we have Player Grave 5 and Player Grave 6. In Player Grave 5, we get the same yellow background from all the other Player Graves, but this time, instead of any text or obituary, we just have this, a cloudy sky. There isn't any music at first, but it starts to pick up and we can hear the same notes from Final Hour being played. Player Grave 6 returns to the grave screen with David in the top left, still sporting a cross face. He then addresses the player. You're in hell. You all are. It's an angel. He told me I was in hell. You're lying. Nobody remembers me. Don't cry. Hell will forget you too. With this, the video fades out, but not before giving us a brief glimpse of the sky from Player Grave 5. David has a much more resigned tone in this one compared to the last time we saw him speak, likely resigned to his fate as he sees no way out of it. The text reads like a conversation, and I think this is the player from Nightly Visitor, the one who shares the same save file as David. As we see in Player Grave 4, David has the ability to communicate to him when he checks the grave, and this is probably him checking the grave again after some time. It's possible that this is the last time they speak, as Nightly Visitor is next in the playlist and they were uploaded on the same day. So sometime after this conversation, the unnamed player is claimed by the Nightly Visitor. There is a difference in the description, unlike all the other player graves, a note that simply reads, "Thank you for mourning." We're getting close to the end here, and what better way to celebrate that than returning to the Nightly Visitor with Nightly Visitor sound effects. Animal Crossing Wild World Nightly Visitor sound effects. What is the Nightly Visitor? The Nightly Visitor is a monster that can kill you in your house from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. It can rearrange the furniture in your house and kill you. These are some of the sound effects I found. Speaking. Speaking to. Eat. Hide. In room. Growl. Player found. Change. Disappear. It lingers on the disappear text for a few seconds before we hear audio of what sounds like someone screaming. And then towards the end, we see the image of clouds again with more audio that sounds vaguely like speaking. The sound effects are interesting in their own right, but the really interesting thing here is the description, where the uploader decides to address us directly. I'd like to break this vague character I've been playing into for these descriptions to voice my confusion about this entire thing. These past few months, I've been obsessively scrounging up as much info as I can, and it's only left me more and more confused. There is more than one person behind this stuff. It's an entire community of people doing one big inside joke, and it actually kind of weirds me out how nobody's ever talked about it. I personally thought the Nightly Visitor was some kind of cosmic entity character, but these people kind of just mention it like it was a feature. Like, yeah, there's just a part of the game where you can die. Also, there's an evil monster that kills people. It's not just this one thing either. It makes sense if this was just a weird inside joke that didn't take off, but it's like they're playing an entirely different game. I mean, like in-depth, pages-long strategy guides on shit like Waterfall Dungeon Level 5, Halloween Furniture Guide, Successful Villager Prayers, How to Escape the Visitor. There's just countless discussions about these features that don't exist and nobody calls them out. It's really late for me, and I'll probably share more tomorrow when my head's on straight. Thank you for being patient. So, what we can glean from this is that the uploader originally viewed this all as some sort of creepypasta, and when they would upload them and add the notes, they were just, quote, playing into it. But as they dug up more and more, it began to seem more real. From what I can tell, when there was a note in the description, it was from the uploader, and when there was something in quotations, it was taken from where they got the OST. The video following this in the playlist has a blank title, but we're gonna come back to it. For reasons I'll explain later on, I think this is the final video canonically, even though it was uploaded before the next. Instead, we'll go to the video I skipped way earlier, Obscure OST Update Video. The description reads, TLDR, all the videos I saved are gone, and I can't find them. Thank you for understanding. The video just consists of a black screen, and for the first time, we hear the uploaders speak.
Hi, this is an update video on the Animal Crossing videos I've been posting recently, or just in general. This is really hard for me to talk about because the entire thing weirds me out at this point, and I've been trying not to think about it. I never planned on talking about, like, using my voice to talk about these videos, but I don't want to just, like, make a community post saying, oh, sorry. I don't want to think about these videos anymore. When I uploaded that Nightly Visitor video, that wasn't the, I swear that wasn't the video that I found, I would have freaked out if there was like gameplay footage and it like looked like that and that stuff happened. That would have been crazy. And then I wake up the next morning and it's that. I would have been too excited to just keep that to myself. I don't know what happened, I swear. I'm not gonna talk about the video. You can just watch the video, you can see it's still there. For some reason, all the videos are still there. I need to talk about the fact that, like, I was like, okay, let me check my videos, right? None of them were there. This collection, I've been building a collection. I've been obsessively cataloging everything I could about this stuff, and it's just not there. So it's like, okay, my computer messed up, right? I'll just find the videos again. But I can't for the life of me find where I found them. It's all gone. It's like it never happened. I look at my, like, search history. It's like I never even searched any of it. Obviously, I had to have searched for it because the videos are on my channel. So I'm like, in general, looking for any evidence that this even happened. And all I can see are people talking about the videos I uploaded and nothing before that. And it weirds me out, like, really bad. For the past week, I've kind of just been trying not to think about it, but I know that I'm gonna keep thinking about it if you guys are gonna, like, think about it. And I don't want to just, like, leave you hanging or anything, so I'm just telling you right now that I guess it's over. I don't know what this is. I don't know what just happened.
If you missed the last little part of the video, we hear the jingle, the one that is typically played when someone ascends. And given that the video ends following it, it's safe to say that the uploader has been placed in the same situation as David and Noah. This brings me back to the blank video. It is a cloudy sky. The description is also blank. This is interesting because it's not empty, it's blank. The difference being when you don't enter anything, it is automatically written as no description has been added to this video. The theory I want to propose here is that this is Sepia Tone's quote-unquote heaven. A couple of comments mentioned some interesting points, one being that this sky is different than David's, putting forward the idea that these are individualized heavens. This also cleanly lines up with the end of Ascension. Why is there nobody else here? Another point is that the image is higher quality. With Sepia Tone having viewed all of these decades later, the Nightly Visitor might have spruced up the place by a few extra pixels. Given that the end of Nightly Visitor sound effects and this blank video were uploaded before the update video, it could be a form of mocking from the Nightly Visitor. And in the same way David's details were stripped away from him, Sepia Tone's notes and titles have also been stripped away. And at the end of it all, while laughing its ass off, the Nightly Visitor hits upload on the update video Sepia Tone was unable to finish. And fuck it, why not also change the channel banner? Okay, so there's a lot here, so we're going to try to fully dissect this by going through the whole entire process of ascending. So Wild World is booted up. You create your character, do all the normal stuff, and play as intended. Everything is as it should be. I think at this point the Nightly Visitor is already watching you the entire time, trying to figure out if you are worthy of its version of heaven. Once it decides you are worthy, it decides to start planting seeds. Based on David's house, we can assume you would have to be pretty far along and looking for something more before any of this would happen. At this point, a church is built, however you are not allowed in. It's mysterious, designed to entice you, and being a kid, not knowing any better, you decide to sneak in. I mean, it's just a game, right? One of the descriptions suggests this is a bad idea. However, I believe it's more of a bad idea in a Mr. Rossetti type of way. Belle will ream you out and maybe get a little angry you snuck in, but nothing bad will actually happen. The Nightly Visitor wants you to come back. So, you keep returning, night after night, and similarly to the way you get to know Sable, Belle will grow accustomed to you. You can now come and go from the church as you please, and maybe every time you learn a little bit more about some rapture or ascension, whatever you want to call it. Again, it's just a game. Once you reach this moment, I think you have the opportunity to earn Belle's portrait. The way I believe you achieve this is completing the waterfall dungeon. Belle will begin to drop hints like, "Oh, what's up with that waterfall? Looks like there might be something behind there." Or, "Huh, those rocks in town sure make some weird noises." Doesn't matter, you just need to be set on the path. So you go to the dungeon, and we don't know much about what's in there or what it entails, but it must be completed. It is a game, after all. Once you complete it, it gets linked back to your home, and you get Belle's rare portrait. This is where the second phase of the Nightly Visitor's plan begins. A fog starts to roll over the town, light at first, but it gets worse and worse over time, as more and more of your villagers disappear. Another new thing you might see in your town is a graveyard, but for some reason, you feel uneasy when you're in it. It's at this point you might start to hear from your brother or close friends that you've been acting strange lately. You might try to show them the church to vindicate what you've been seeing, but they can't find it. The Nightly Visitor will not allow them to lead you astray. The Visitor is now closely monitoring you in-game and out, looking to see your reactions to the villagers disappearing, making sure you don't visit the graveyard at night, rearranging your home to be perfect. A thick fog envelops the town, and a piercing wind echoes throughout. Not a lot of players have heard this, but you're special. All of the villagers are gone at this point, the shops are closed, there's nothing left for you here. You now have a choice. You can willingly go to the church and ascend with Belle and other players, or you can try to avoid it. But the truth is, there isn't really a choice. 2 hands land on your shoulder, and you turn around to be met with hollow eyes and a breath more intense than anything you've ever felt. It's time to go. Please speak into the microphone. Days pass. Or was it weeks? Months? You can't really tell. It's just too bright in here. One day, you see someone familiar visiting your grave. You know them. After an unknown amount of time in isolation, you let everything you've been feeling out. Sadness, fear, desperation. Just don't let them close the menu. They can't close the menu. Don't close the menu. And just like that, they're gone. You see them again, but you now realize the truth. They're in hell, and there's nothing more to say. The Nightly Visitor does not want them speaking to you anymore, but they aren't special. They don't get heaven. They are simply taken out. And you're left to rot. With all this now just a distant memory to most players, and decades having passed, a channel called Sepia Tone decides to document strange occurrences from Wild World that they had never heard of. This has all just got to be some weird joke, right? But like all the others, Sepia Tone got too curious, something the Nightly Visitor views as willingness. And not wanting anything or anyone to be remembered, the Visitor wipes everything, and Sepia Tone's prize for archiving it all is heaven. Yay. That's my interpretation of the story. I think the special thing about this series is it can be interpreted so many different ways. As for what the Nightly Visitor is, it's an angel. A scary one, but an angel nonetheless. It clearly gains something by holding these people captive, but maybe it views it as saving them. They were in hell. Now they're not. There's also Belle, and although he can be compared to something like Baphomet, I think he's just an NPC created by the Nightly Visitor to further its goals. No different to the code of the church he resides in. Also, there's other Rams in Animal Crossing. You're not special just 'cause you're fucking funny looking. There is another version of Jingle. Here it is now. And along with this is another playlist, but this just consists of behind-the-scenes, non-canon stuff. So if you're interested in that, it's at the bottom of the full playlist. The way to access this playlist nowadays is through the Animal Crossing Let's Play update video. This is an update on Sepia Tone's Animal Crossing GameCube Let's Play, something that never existed, and also isn't even the same game we've been talking about. So I guess the Nightly Visitor just thought it would be funny to use an unrelated video to bring more eyes to the cult. Thank you for watching. Please check out the series and subscribe to Sepia Tone. It looks like they're making a new series unrelated, but it looks pretty good. I'd also love to hear your theories. I'm sure I missed some things. Okay, bye-bye. Well, this fucking sucks.